Okay, in this video, we are going to be going over how to animate the position text box. So in the last video, we made all of our text layers. And now, since you only want to really work with position, we're going to hide the others. So just like in Photoshop, how you can hide layers, there's a little eye over here next to each one. So if we click on that, it will hide the corresponding layer. Let's hide those. And we're just going to focus on the position text right now. You'll also notice that each of these layers has a little arrow. So if you click on that, it opens up a drop-down menu, and this gives you different options for animating. So I'm going to, we'll get to text later, but we're going to focus on transform. Another thing to notice about this area, down at the bottom of your timeline, I don't know if you can see this, but there's these little mountains. This allows you to zoom in time. So currently it's showing me when it's you have these like 00:15F. So that means 15 frames. We are working with about 30 frames a second, so 29.97. So this breaks down, each second breaks down into frames. So this is basically half a second, 1 full second, 1.5, 2, 2.5, so on. I click on this little larger mountain here. Come on. This would be weird. There we go. All right, so click on it or the slider. Computer's being weird right now. And I zoom in, you start to see this change. So now it's saying 10 frames, 20, 1 second. And it goes on from there. So I'll zoom in a little bit more. And you can go all the way down. My computer's being funky right now, but it goes all the way. You can go down to individual frames. We're going to be animating each word in about 1 to 2 second increments. So I don't really need to go zoomed in. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Typically with animations, you want to leave a second or two at the beginning so the animation doesn't start the second you hit play. So we're going to actually move. I'm going to skip to 2 seconds on my timeline. This is our time marker. So wherever I put this, this is what's being changed within the timeline. And then I'm going to go back over here, and under transform, this is where we start to get into some of the basic animation options. So position is where your object is located within the composition. You can see it already made a keyframe right here. So I'm going to actually click on that and hit the backspace button and delete that. I don't want it to be here to begin with. I want this to be its final position. So I skipped ahead to 2 seconds because I want it to end here. So I have my time marker here, and if I click on this little stopwatch next to position, it added this little diamond. This is a keyframe. So this is a key part of the movement of that object. So now it's stuck in that position in the timeline. So if I want it to come from off screen, I'm going to just back up along the timeline. I'm going to 1 second. And I'm going to use my move tool. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it off screen. And you'll notice we have this little dotted line that showed up. Each dot is showing its position on each frame. So now, if I let my animation play, you can hit spacebar on your keyboard, or up here you have your play menu. So if I hit play, it slides up into position very evenly. That feels a little mechanical, a little rigid. So you can actually go in and adjust what's called easing. So instead of just having it go even frames in, you can add what's called easing to the keyframes. So I'm going to start by right-clicking on my end set, keyframe assistant, and do easy ease. So see how they're more spread out here, and then they get closer together as it gets towards the end position. So what that will do is it will kind of slow down as it ends on the last keyframe. See, we can do the same thing with the beginning one. So if we right-click on that and do easy ease, you can see they're kind of closer here, so it'll kind of slowly come in, go faster, and then slow down. Another thing we can do is we can actually adjust these a little bit more even beyond that. So if I go and click on Graph Editor, It shows me a nice little graph of what speed things are moving. The lower down here, let's get this out of the way. This is moving slower, going faster, and then going slower. So you can actually adjust it. Want it to come in really fast and then slow down. I can adjust this. So watch. You can get more and more extreme with that. And again, the more you mess with that, it becomes a faster. If I want it to come in slow and then speed into space, bring that down. Change it here. So now it's going to come in slow and kind of fall into place. So you can make these adjustments to kind of adjust the type of animation, the kind of movement that you have. But we'll just do a simple ease in, ease out. Other things that you can adjust is if you look at this line right now, it's very straight, but we can actually give it a curve. So these are Bezier lines. So I can grab that little handle and kind of curve it. There's another one down here. So I can give it a curved path as it comes in. So watch, now it's going to follow this path. So those are the basics of position movement. Again, you want to set where the end keyframe is, and then the beginning position, and then it does what's called interpolation. So the program comes up with what the animation will look in between those places. As always, I will say this repeatedly, make sure that after you do this, you're going to hit save just to keep any changes.